Now, for those taking Canada's Citizenship Oath, the niqab has been nixed. Immigration Minister Kenney announced today that would-be Canadians cannot have their face covered when taking the oath. It's the second week face coverings have made headlines. The Supreme Court last week heard arguments about whether a woman could testify while wearing a niqab. So let's get some reaction to today's announcement from Human Rights and Civil Liberties Officer Julia Wiliams. She is with the Canadian Council on American Islamic Relations. She joins us live from Ottawa. Julia, your organization at least put out a news release shortly after Immigration Minister Kenney's announcement. So what is the criticism here to the decision?
Well, we were quite taken back by this announcement. We weren't expecting it at all. And the main criticism is that it prevents women who want to come forward and take their citizenship oath from doing so in a way that's not necessary. I mean, there are simple accommodations that can be made if the problem is that you need to be able to hear her actually give the oath. And an official can stand next to her and listen to her give the oath, or she can be given an FM microphone and someone can listen in. So it seemed, a disappointing thing that the immigration minister, who also is in charge of multiculturalism, would come out with a statement like this.
And one of the arguments is that there could be someone with a bushy beard or bandages across their face, and that would be the same thing?
Well, I mean, I think that the point that the minister was trying to make was that if a woman's mouth is covered, you can't determine whether or not she's actually giving the oath. But I think it's important to keep in mind that when people are at a ceremony giving the oath, they're doing so in unison, and there's sort of a presumption of sincerity there, that people aren't mumbling or mouthing the words, and we don't hook people up to a lie detector test to determine whether or not they're telling the truth, and we feel that should be extended to Muslim women in niqab. It doesn't need to go to the extreme of having her remove it. There are certain accommodations that can be made.
Julia, what about the minister saying earlier on CBC News Network that the niqab and the burqa are not really religious representations, but it's more cultural, and it isn't really something that Canadians support because it has an impression of women that not all Canada supports?
Well, I mean, the minister's, opinion on the niqab and whether or not it's cultural or religious is interesting, but not very relevant. If the woman holds a sincerely held religious belief that has a nexus in religion, our courts have long since determined that she should be able to, uphold religious practice. And there's nothing more damaging to a woman's equality and freedom than taking away her choice.
Okay, and in this news release as well, it says that this move will have a damaging effect on our democracy. How do you see that?
Well, we want people to feel like they're a part of the society, that they can feel comfortable coming forward and taking that oath. We had a call already this morning from a woman who was supposed to take her oath tomorrow, and she was uncertain about what to do and how she would be received. She's been in touch with CIC, and she's since been told that she'll be contacted about another date, and she's devastated.
And what do you make of these challenges? I mean, what is it like for her then? Is there some sort of common ground we can find where she isn't devastated?
Absolutely. And as I was saying, I think that if there is a genuine concern that the oath is not being taken, which I find somewhat suspect, I think this is more about scoring political points than actual necessity/concern here. There are accommodations that can be made to ensure that she is actually taking the oath, and it doesn't have to go to the extreme of asking her to relinquish something that she considers to be part of her faith.
What political points do you think are being scored?
Well, I think the niqab is not something that's known well in Canada. People are uncomfortable with it. We're used to seeing people's faces in Canada. And so I think a statement like this from the minister will probably be received popularly. I think that people will generally think, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But it's important to bear in mind the values of diversity and multiculturalism and freedom, and these are important Canadian values as well. But I think for the minister to come out and make a statement like that, I think it's probably an easy win for him, but it's at the expense of a vulnerable group of women.
Julia, we appreciate your time. Thanks for speaking with us.
Thanks for having me.
It's Julia Wiliams of the Canadian Council on American Islamic Relations speaking with us from Ottawa.